What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Hammer and Chisel Performance Podcast. I'm your host, John Heck. As always, I just want to start with a quick shout out to the sponsors of the show, Troponin Supplements, keeping me decked out in the Power T bodybuilding jersey, which I'm starting to fill this thing out a little bit better, okay? Bulking season is underway, weight is up, so I'm finally filling this thing out pretty good here. So, guys, go to the Troponin Supplements website. It's not just apparel, it's primarily supplements. Can't recommend them enough. I use all their stuff. I have for years, long before I ever became affiliated with them. So use code HECK, capital HECK, at checkout for a discount on all Troponin supplements. So anyway, getting into today's episode, I have a dude who is jacked. He is handsome, and he has a massive social media following. I think I'll let you kind of give the bio and background. Dylan Shannon, welcome to the podcast, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Super stoked to be on it. Honestly, I've been following you on Instagram probably for like 5 or 6 years now. So been seeing you
Oh,
live. It's
really?
like, yeah, I got since you're like UNC, kind of those days. So I've been following like your journey a little bit. So it's always cool like meeting in person, like somebody following. But a little bit about me. I'm 27, so kind of been lifting for about 13, 14 years now. Got obsessed with training when I was like 13. Over the last couple of years, I was a strength and conditioning coach kind of prior to like social media. So started like the college space, intern, G8, and then kind of work in the private sector as well as like personal training. But kind of like, I guess my newer background over the last 2 years, I started kind of on social media about like February of like 2024. So almost 2 years now, and kind of like slowly built up this like, I guess social media following and been super fortunate with it. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like where I am, like been training like my whole life, been obsessed with it. My training style, like kind of like similar to you, like I want to be strong, want to be athletic, want to be jacked. So kind of every element of it. And yeah, kind of what keeps it fun.
For sure, man. And you said it's been kind of a slow building of the social media. I'm like, February of
Or
2024, brother. That
fast.
is that is that is not very slow. I was going to say you've got just shy of like 300K on Instagram. But yeah, man. I mean, we could talk a lot of training, and I really love the training content you put out. You're strong, you're phenomenal physique, and you put out just. You're clearly very, very well versed in training. So I don't want to shortchange your training knowledge and not really go down that rabbit hole a ton. But as we kind of talked about off the air, I always think about like what's the most interesting angle to take with any particular guest. And I really want to talk about kind of the social media, the brand building, the marketing side of everything you do, the business side of things. I think a lot of people are interested in that. And I think more people than ever are kind of getting into this, like tons of people, young guys coming up, they want to be creators. They want to be
Mhm.
YouTubers. They want to do what you do. And also, we're kind of doing similar things. So I want to pick your brain on that stuff, but let's start just kind of zooming out, get a big picture view of exactly what that looks like for you. Like, if you don't mind, what are your kind of current income streams right now? Like, how are you making a living at the moment?
Yeah. So kind of my main income is through my selling my programs. So I have a website. It's called powerjack.com, and I just have 8 week plans on there. Is kind of what I went with when I first started, like back 2 years ago. I started kind of like with that one-on-one coaching route, was doing that. And then like as my following kind of built, I kind of moved away from that and started doing like, I was like, I wonder if I put a plan out there, if that would do better. So kind of now my main source of income is my website where to sell 8 week training plans. I also have training teams on Trainer Oak where it's like subscription based. So
Right.
probably like 70% of it's through the plans, and then like another like 20% is through like the actual subscription teams. So that's my main source of income, kind of like building that business side and the programs and everything. And then like the rest is kind of through like sprints, partnerships and sponsorships. Yeah, so that's kind of the main source.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, you've got, first of all, phenomenal name for the
I
program, the
appreciate
Power Jacked. I love that. And yeah, I know you're selling a number of programs. I've heard really, really good things about them. And then you're essentially using social media as I would imagine, your primary marketing tool for
Mhm.
all this stuff, right? And in a sense, correct me if I'm wrong, you almost get to live sort of like a professional athlete where it's like it's almost like your job. Like you got to look the part, you got to do the training, you got to be strong, you got to be the ambassador for your programs that you're selling, right?
Dude, it's so like funny you say that because over the last like week, I've kind of been thinking about this. Like, like every kid, like you want to be a professional athlete growing up, and I probably realized when I was like 10 years old, probably never going to happen. I was always a very average athlete, but I think the cool thing with like social media nowadays, if you're someone like us who loves to train or you grew up lifting weights, like the only way you could ever like really work out for a living was to be a professional athlete. But I think the cool thing with social media now is like you can build a following in essence, like I always joke around like say with my friends and family and stuff, but like I am so incredibly fortunate. Like I literally work out for a living. Like as long as I record myself working out, post on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, I'm fortunate enough now where like essentially that is my own marketing for like my programs. Like I never really do direct marketing where it's like, oh, here's buy my program. Here's my lift for the day. Here's something I find interesting with like training, and naturally it kind of I guess flows to that. But it is really cool, like to like I never thought like 2 years ago or even 5 years ago like I could do what I'm doing now, and it's like such a blessing and super fortunate to like yeah, since you work out and just
Yeah.
press the red button for a living. So it's super nice. Yeah.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife the other day, so she's kind of getting on me because, I spend a lot of time at the gym doing all my recovery stuff. I'm meticulous with my diet, very much treating myself like I'm a professional bodybuilder. And she's kind of like, "Don't you think you could cut back on some of that time?" And I was like, "Listen, you have to understand, like, this is a massive part of my job. Like, I'm not getting the coaching clients I'm getting. I'm not selling the programs. I'm not getting the followers if I'm just a regular dude and I haven't built the physique I have. I haven't gotten the level of strength I have just training like a regular guy. Like, I have to treat this like it's a part of my job because it is. Because here's the reality: there's a million other dudes who are trying to do the same thing. There's a million other guys who are putting out content on Instagram, who are selling programs, yada, yada. But if you want to actually make a living in that space, you have to stand out. You have to be unique. And obviously, you've done a phenomenal job of that. So I want to kind of peel back the layers and see, okay, what is it that you've done that's allowed you to stand out? So let's take it back to the beginning now. So when did you start putting out content? And when you initially started posting, what was the goal with it? Or even was there really any goal with it?
Yeah, actually, so I originally kind of started posting, it was probably like February of 2024, so almost 2 years ago. And at the time, I used to play rugby. So I was a rugby player. I was a strength and conditioning coach. So I kind of wanted to make like a rugby strength and conditioning focused account. So it was like kind of showing my training, like do these 5 exercises to be a stronger rugby player, like get more conditioned with this. So it's kind of geared more towards rugby. And then it was funny, I was actually coaching at the time and I was working at like a private facility. So all my athletes that were coaching were like middle school, high school age. So it was all after school and on Saturday mornings. So I wasn't able to go to rugby practices anymore or games. So I kind of stopped playing. So that was kind of just training on my own. And, naturally I've always been in the strength and conditioning side. So I love, the aspect of sprinting, jumping, lifting heavy, the bodybuilding side, all that. So I kind of just started posting my training. Um, I think the biggest thing was like when I started posting it, like, I mean, 2 years in, I still have no idea what I'm doing. But back then I had no idea what I was doing when I started. It was
Yeah.
just like I followed people for a while, someone like you, like Will Rattel, like people like that. And I've kind of always liked the accounts for people to kind of post their training where it's like, all right, here's what I did today. It was a
Right.
lower body session. Like I did this rep scheme for squats. So I kind of started with that and just record myself in the gym and kind of making like little reels and stuff. Um, so going through that and like just going from like that rugby account to kind of just my general training um and I'd make kind of a variety of like some educational videos where it's like build your hamstrings with these 3 exercises or stuff I find kind of interesting, and then as far as
Right.
the training videos, and then it kind of slowly built up. Well, it kind of built up like over the first like 3 months there was like nothing, and then like anything you kind of reach that point and it kind of just like kind of took off from there. So it was around like I remember like in March of that year, so like probably a month and a half, like in show, like Tim Riley and like Zach, like that's kind of why I was on their podcast back in June. They're kind of the ones who kind of motivated me to start like posting. Like I kind of been posting for like a month at that point, but it was kind of like here and there, and I was kind of like still in my own head about it, like the
Right.
imposter syndrome, everything like that. Can something, there's people that's so much smarter out there, bigger, faster, stronger. Like why would they listen to me? And then like kind of hearing their stories, it was kind of like motivating to see someone coming from like the same background. So I was like, you know what? I remember like vividly standing in my living room after like listening to that, and I was like, F it, like why not go all in on it? Because like you got nothing to lose, like at the end of the day. So kind of like went all in on the posting on there, and I was still working as a strength and conditioning coach. So, like, at the time I was like, all right, just start with like posting every single day. I think that's kind of like a small, like, I know that's like common advice now on like social media, like posting every day, but it's like, it's not even like just like the quantity of posts, but it's kind of like having that habit every day to like force yourself. All right, I'm gonna post every day, no matter what. It's 9 o'clock at night. I can't really think of something. I'm still
Right.
gonna try to put something out there. So I think just establishing that consistency early on, and then eventually at some point, like you'll reach a point where like a video will kind of go viral or get some good views, and then from there it's just you got to like just feed into that. So kind of just posted my training and kind of went from there, and then in like June of like 2024 kind of like started to see like that tick up, and since then kind of just been riding that wave, I guess.
Can you trace it back at all to kind of an one initial video, real piece of
Dude,
content that sort of
I can tell you
ignited
the
the spark?
exact video. So it was funny enough, like I was recording like a gym, and probably for the first like 3 months. And then I did this one video. I was out in the field, I was doing like a sprint workout, and it was me doing like switches. So like single switches or boom booms. I know people have a bunch of different
Yeah.
names for it. Single switches, double switches, triple switches. And it was like a 10-second video, but it was the first video I ever posted with my shirt off because I was naturally outside. It was summertime. And then
Yeah.
like at the time it went like pretty viral for me at like 500,000 views. And I was like, okay, well, there's definitely like a correlation here. And it was funny. My dad actually had texted me like a week prior because he was watching my videos, and he texted me one day, and he's like, Dylan, your shirt's too loose in that video. You need to take your shirt off more. So
There we go,
he's
Dad. Yeah.
66. He knows nothing about social media, but clearly he did, because obviously that was probably like the biggest thing. I think obviously in fitness, like, you don't have to take your shirt off, but like there is a big like everyone's initial thing when they're scrolling social media is like the appearance. Like that's the first thing they're going to see, like no matter how smart or how dumb or what you offer is in there. So it was definitely that video that helped. And then from there I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna start like trying to show my physique more, because I've always loved the bodybuilding side too, and like into that side. So like showing that more. And I think, I guess, having the proof as well as like, showing the training kind of helped with it. And I think that's kind of what took it off. And then also another thing that kind of helped, I think, with that video of me doing switches was like, to me, that's the way I've always trained, like kind of strength and conditioning, like training every aspect of it. But like, I think with social media, like some people are like either only hypertrophy based training or only strength
Right.
based training. And like, obviously the hybrid trend's been a big thing of late. So a lot of people like, I mean, I'm not a hybrid athlete. I would never consider myself that. I don't do any endurance work at all. But I think people just seeing you doing even like different disciplines of exercise, they're like, oh, hybrid athlete. And I think that kind of helped too. Like people seeing that. So like, oh, you could sprint and lift. So I think kind of going all in on like that jacked and athletic style of training as well kind of helped.
Yeah, man, I resonate with the hybrid label because I kind of used to kind of use that term because I would put out a mix of strength-based stuff, strongman powerlifting, but then also more bodybuilding, then the kind of athletic performance side of things. I was like, yeah, this is hybrid training. But now you got the
Yeah.
Alec Blennis's and you got all these
Yeah.
guys who
Yeah.
for them hybrid training is running ultra marathons and crushing big weights too. But yeah, man, dude, physique sells, period. Physique sells. And what I think it is not everyone in the mainstream can relate or understand heavyweight on a bar or really know what they're looking at when it's some sort of athletic feat. Like I can put up a video of me deadlifting 700 pounds versus 500 pounds. Normal people don't know the difference. Oh, cool, heavyweight.
Exactly. Yep.
You show
Yep.
them abs, though, everyone
Yeah.
understands abs. Everyone resonates with, oh, I want to look like that. So as soon as you pop the top off there, everyone sees, oh, this dude's jacked and he's strong and he does all this stuff. Yeah, it not surprising at all that was kind of the spark that ignited everything. So, you get that first reel that pops off. Did that kind of give you a like encouragement, like sense of urgency, like, oh shit, I got to capitalize on this? Because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people, they don't follow up.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think it's like super key to like follow up on it, because I remember that's when I like launched. So I still have it now, a training team, like a subscription based team on Trainer Oak, the Power Jack team, and I like that's when I launched that, like right around there, because like
Smart.
that's when I started getting all the questions about like the training. People were like, oh, how do you sprint? How do you squat? How do you do all this in the same training week? So I was like, well, I might as well just put something out there so like people can follow it. So I think that's an important thing. Obviously, like if you're a trainer or strength and conditioning coach or whatever, it's like I think sometimes we forget, like, and this isn't like to like inflate, but like how knowledgeable we are. And obviously we're obsessed with it. We spend so much time like learning about it. But most people like, they don't know how to sprint or how to lift in the same week, or how to structure like a lower body session, or how to structure a
Right.
session to a power building, all that. And so I think kind of taking advantage of that, and like being like, oh, here's a plan you can follow. Here's kind of like what I do, or kind of what I've learned, and putting that out there. So I think the initial part, like after that, kind of like going viral, was like obviously it gives you like that sense of like, okay, I something's working. So like one is like double down, keep going with the content, like keep posting and progressively building that up. But also like that's when I kind of started launching like those training teams, and then kind of from there I went to like the one-on-one coaching, and then to now like the set 8-week plans.
Right. And then from there, how long did it take before you kind of truly realized, like, oh man, like I can make a living off of this. I can go full time with this.
Yeah, I remember vividly. So it was like about around like June of that year. So
Yeah.
I reached like 10,000 followers. And I don't know, there's something about like that number, like maybe because the aesthetic on Instagram, it's like 10K. But
Yeah.
that was like when I noticed the difference, like, because I was remember it was like the beginning of July, and I was still working as a strength and conditioning coach. But at the place I was at, I was a part-time coach, like there's no full-time roles. I knew there was no growth there. So it was like I was crunching the numbers, and I was like, well, I'm kind of making just the same amount online as I was as a part-time coach. So I was like, I might as well quit. So I finished that month out. I was like, I might as well quit this and go all in on that. And so that
Right.
was like the beginning of August of 2024. So I guess like 4 or 5 months into it, I kind of got lucky. And since then, kind of been going all in on that, because at the time, all I want to do was be like a strength and conditioning coach, want to do the college route, or, train like elite athletes. And I never like really thought you could do like the social media. Like I always saw these people do like online coaching. I was like, can you actually make a living off of that? Like, are people actually doing that well on it? And so it was kind of like cool to like to see that. And I think another thing with it is like, I think a lot of people think you have to have like a massive following to do that. Like, I mean, I reach at like, I mean, still like 9,000 followers. Yeah, it's still a good amount, but like you don't need to have a massive following to be able to do it full time. It's like
Yeah.
kind of just building that community of people you like find you interested in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a point I want to touch on here in a little bit, kind of understanding the difference between purely followers versus potential clients and customers, right? I think there's a distinction between content that drives engagement and followers versus content that converts followers into customers and clients. I think there's a difference
Mhm.
there. We'll touch on that in a second, but just kind of sticking on your journey here initially, when you made the decision to go full time with this, did you have people in your circle who were like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Did you have people trying to talk you out of it?
Honestly, I think I'm just very fortunate that like my family and friends very supportive, especially my family.
Yeah.
Like I think because I've been doing like that strength and conditioning route for like 3 years. So like interning, GA, and obviously, like you're not getting paid. You're paying to go back to school. I remember I was donated plasma at the time and stuff like that. And like, so any money was fine with me. And so when I finally got like my first job, like I was working at that strength and conditioning facility, it was good, but like I knew it wasn't probably sustainable, or like I
Mhm.
needed a full-time job at that time. So I think my family was pretty supportive. Like they've also seen like they've been around me for the last 13 years. They've seen how obsessed I have been with working out. They know how passionate I am about it. So I think I was very fortunate in that sense. Like people were supporting me, because I know a lot of people like with social media, like there can be a lot of negativity, and like people can play that in their head, and then they start
Yeah.
second guessing stuff. Maybe it's just my experience, but I have noticed like, yeah, you get some negativity on social media, but I will say like the large majority has been positivity. Like I've gotten to meet, like getting on a podcast like this, or meeting so many cool people that I never thought I would, like through social media, or like kind of building like that, I guess brand and stuff, and meeting a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of like positive stuff. So I think it's been really, really cool with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree. I've gotten mostly positivity. And I think when you portray yourself, like you portray yourself with your content as a good dude. Like I can look at your stuff and see, okay, this is a good dude. There are other creators out there who's they have kind of a condescending vibe to
Yeah.
them, kind of a pompous, arrogant vibe to them. And I think that draws in more negativity, or creators who intentionally try to be like polarizing, controversial, take extreme takes and things like that. But I mean, you're very just, hey, this is really good training information. So, and there's always going to be the haters, but dude,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the hate,
Still get
like
a
when
good
you have
amount,
the
but it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I just get amused when it's just like random trolls on Instagram. I'm like, this isn't even real. It's not even real life. It's just some who knows who, if it's even a human behind some random keyboard, who knows where in this like virtual fake reality. Like that stuff just doesn't bother me. And it always kind of irritates me when people do get so bothered by like the haters
Yeah.
commenting on their stuff. I'm like, honestly, it's not a very good look when you get like frazzled by the haters
Yeah,
commenting on
and you
your
posted
stuff.
on like your story, like you got to just like
Yeah.
take it. I saw you got the AI one the other day. Someone accused you like AI. That's an awesome.
Yeah.
That's a new goal for me. Like that's a new one with the AI. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the accusation of I put a physique stuff is like this is AI generated. I'm like, this is the best compliment. This is the best compliment I've
Yeah.
gotten in 2025.
Yeah, they
But yeah,
always end up being compliments. Yeah, when they try to diss you and stuff. So it's
yeah,
always
exactly.
worthwhile. Yeah.
So like I'm
Yeah.
sure you get, steroid accusations. I'm like, dude, that is a phenomenal compliment. If you're not getting
Yeah. Yeah.
steroid accusations, you ain't jacked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
um, but so I want to go into actually, here's one question I do have for you. So we've talked mostly about Instagram, and I want to get into the actual mechanics of making videos. You talked about consistency. I don't want to get into some of those specifics, but do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah. I'm YouTube. Yeah. YouTube. I love like YouTube is probably the one I'm most passionate about. I love making long form videos. And like, since I started lifting when I was like 13, back in like 2013, 14, it was kind of like I would say like the beginning of like fitness YouTube. So I've always
Yeah.
kind of been obsessed with that. So yeah, I do have a YouTube and I
Okay.
post on there probably like 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, good. I'm glad you do because I wanted to go into that, just kind of talking about the differences and the different values in the long form versus the
Hmm.
short form content. Because I think they're very different and they're very different in how they can potentially help you. So you got YouTube, long form stuff, you got Instagram, short form stuff. Um, just kind of putting you on the spot here. If you were giving advice to a new creator, if they had to choose one to excel at, YouTube long form or Instagram short form, to ultimately make a living from this, how would you advise them? I know in real world it's all context dependent, but you have to speak in a generality here. Which route are you taking?
I mean, I think now if you had to go one route, I think it would be the short form just because it's like it's so much easier to go viral on short form than long form.
Yeah.
Like long form, obviously, it's like people have to like sit down and make an investment into a 5, 10, 15, 20 minute video, where short form, it's like, you could be scrolling and just see something you like. So for me, like my Instagram obviously like blew up way more than my YouTube steadily has grown over the last 2 years, but my Instagram's been the biggest like with the short form. So I would say to start with like the short form, and I see a lot of people doing this, and I think it's smart. Like starting with the short form, you start to build a following, and especially if you're like a strength and conditioner, a trainer, or somebody who likes to work out, and you're just posting the kind of your training. Like naturally, as you build that up, people are going to want more in-depth videos on your training. Like they see a reel of you doing a lower body day, and they're asking in the comments like, "Well, why are you doing this rep scheme on squats? Why are you pairing those two exercises together? Why are you doing that?" And then that's when you kind of start going towards the longer form videos, and you can make those training vlogs and you can get way more in depth with stuff. But I think I think the short form Instagram, TikTok is kind of the way to go, because it's just, if you are looking like the quickest way to kind of make a living off of it, obviously like followers aren't everything. I think that's something to not get like too caught up on, but like it is kind of something in the beginning. Like you do obviously have to build your voice and build your community as you're going. So I think with short form content, you kind of have the best um, route to kind of build that with like just how everyone's like wired and watching so many videos on it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And honestly, I was going to kind of take the other side of that and argue in favor of the long form. But I think your point makes more sense in that the short form, it's a lower barrier of entry. It's a more feasible route to start. And by gaining a following through the short form, it can segue better into driving people towards the long form. And then also you just gain some experience in front of the camera, doing the short form stuff, and all that. And that's essentially what I did. I mean, for years I was kind of building an Instagram following, and then this past year I went all in on YouTube, and I've really started putting all my egg, well, not all my eggs, but really putting a ton of full-time effort into long form YouTube. And I'll drop 2 long form YouTube videos and then 1 podcast episode. every week. But what are some of the pros and cons that you might see versus comparing long form success versus Instagram success? Like, what can a large following on short form get you? What are some of the maybe shortcomings, things that can't get you? And then on the flip side, what can having a large, successful YouTube presence gain you that maybe you don't get from Instagram?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because kind of what you're saying earlier about like the quality of content. Some stuff can just be viral and you get followers, but is that going to be someone who's going to be a customer to buy your plan? So I think
Right.
with YouTube and the longer form content, I think I think Instagram I have like 280,000. I think YouTube I have around like 42,000. But
Mhm.
I looking at like my sales, like a lot of my sales come through YouTube. So like relative to the followers, I get way more through YouTube. And I think it's because people are actually like invested in you and they're spending the time watching a 20 to 30-minute video of you training. They're gonna somewhat like you and they're probably more um looking for training plans or whatever it is and more likely to support you. So I do think like with the longer form, like because I think especially with YouTube too, it's like building like subscribers on YouTube, I think is harder than followers on Instagram because
Way
I think a
harder,
lot of
way
people
harder.
on because like on Instagram, everyone, even if you're not like a creator, everyone has an Instagram account. Like everyone's mom, everyone has one. They might post every 6 months, but they utilize it, so they're more likely to follow. Whereas on YouTube, if you're not creating anything, you're never going to post something on there. So I think a lot of people like forget to subscribe. And I know I do it all the time. I watch people all the time and I'm like, wait, I haven't been subscribed to this person in like
Yeah.
6 months. So I think it's harder to like build the subscribers, but like the views on like, getting 5,000 views on a 20-minute training video, I think goes a lot farther than getting like 100,000 views on like a short form reel. So I think it is kind of like that, what you were saying, like really investing in that YouTube, putting that time and effort. Cause I kind of done the same thing over the past like 6 months. It's like, I built this following on Instagram, and I think naturally I always think back like when I'm creating content, like how I consume content, and whatever how forever long I've consumed content. It's like I might be following someone on Instagram, and then I eventually like find my way to their YouTube channel, and then sometimes I'm like. I watch them on Instagram and then like I find out they don't have a YouTube and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I would like to watch like longer form videos. So I think if you start building like that audience, people naturally is going to want to watch more of you. And so if you could provide like again like more in-depth videos with the longer form, but I do think in the long term, like I think growing like a coaching or like a training business, I think YouTube is the way to go because especially if you're posting training vlogs that are 20 minutes long, you could show the plans you're selling or the coaching you have to offer, and I think you get a larger number of like buyers through that.
Yeah. A big thing that I think it is when people, so like on Instagram, we all probably have 100 different accounts on Instagram that we regularly look at and consume their content. Whereas on YouTube, we might only have 5, 6,
Yeah.
10 channels that we regularly watch. It's a much bigger investment to really be a
Hmm.
follower of someone on YouTube. Like you said, you're committed. First of all, you have to take the time to click on the video. You're not just swiping through and a reel pops up in your face on YouTube. You have to click on the video, make the decision to watch it, and then you're talking about a 15, 20, 30-minute commitment. The way people watch YouTube, it's more like how you consume like television, right?
Yeah.
And your favorite YouTube creator, people view them like they do their favorite character on TV, right?
Hmm.
Like they'll watch it on the couch. They feel like they kind of know the person. Whereas on Instagram, it's a much lower investment. You follow a ton of people. You probably like that guy's stuff. You don't know that person. You're not committing 30 minutes a day to watching that individual. So I think with the YouTube, you can really gain like a loyal following of people who
Yeah.
like really love you. And like your YouTube followers, they're probably Dylan Shannon fans for life. Like
Yeah.
they're Dylan Shannon customers for life, and they're referring you to other people. Whereas on Instagram, you have 280,000 followers. Of those people, it's probably a relatively small percentage of them who
Hmm.
are actually, buying your stuff, who truly like could know by name, oh, Dylan Shannon, and talk about you. And, so, but to your point, YouTube it's tough sledding to build an audience on YouTube. I mean, just getting 1,000 views on a video, like you're
Yeah.
doing great if you get 1,000
Yeah.
views
Yeah.
on a video,
Yeah.
So when did you you said, did you say you started making YouTube videos before you started making the Instagram videos, or did I mishear you on that?
Around the same, a little after. I actually started
Okay.
short form, and then I started probably 3 months after making like YouTube.
Okay. Got it. And did you, I'm assuming it was just at the beginning, just super slow, trying to get subscribers and views
Yeah,
and all that.
that was. I think I got used to like because I started after my Instagram, and it was kind of around the time where I started seeing like that bump in Instagram. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
same thing's gonna happen on YouTube. And no,
Right.
YouTube is a different beast. Yeah, it's like 5,000 subscribers on YouTube is a lot. Like growing that has been, yeah, it's a lot harder. And obviously, like through the longer form video. But what you said about like that loyal audience is so true. Like I have the people like. I love my YouTube audience, but like they comment on every video. Like I'll see the same people comment on every video. So like again, people are kind of like investing in that, like they would watch a show. They're like actually like sitting down and watching it. So it is definitely like harder to grow, but I feel like more worthwhile because again, you can be more authentic on YouTube. Like, if you're making a 20-minute video, like obviously you're going to show your personality and stuff, and people can decide they actually like you. Whereas like on short form Instagram, TikTok, like it's just me lifting with cool music in the background. They don't know anything about me with it. So
Yeah.
again, you kind of actually get to know someone, see if you actually like them, and then yeah, it just takes time to like kind of build that following on there. But again, it's one of those where it's like, yeah, you start off getting like 30 views on a video, which if you think about it, if someone's spending 20 minutes watching me train and it's pretty cool. And then you slowly build it up. So I think that's the one that's a little more like I mean, obviously Instagram matters to me. I love that, like getting the support on there, but it's cool like when you see like the comments on YouTube,
Yeah.
someone watching a video and they're like, I don't know, I think it means a little more on the longer form.
Yeah. I totally agree. And then, then you get into making thumbnails and like the
Yeah.
thumbnail and
Yeah.
title for YouTube, which is like so big in
Oh
the
man, it's
success of a
massive. Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
So have you are you decent with the thumbnail creation? Have you had to evolve in that aspect? Do you have maybe an editor, anyone who helps you with this stuff?
No, so I've done all my content on my own throughout
Okay.
the last like 2 years. I've definitely I've worked, I want to start working with someone more like to make, higher quality stuff here and there. But for the most part, I'm doing all my own stuff. But it's true, like the thumbnails and the titles and stuff, like that is like half the battle now with YouTube because again, there's so much content out there. So it's like someone has to invest in it. How are you going to stand out to them, especially early on? Because once you kind of build the following, like those people are going to watch you no matter what. But like to continue to increase that following, it's like, well, why should I click on your push workout versus this person's push workout versus that person's push workout? So it's like you do kind of have to get a little better at that thumbnail and title. That's something I've like gotten better at. Like you have to use those keywords. You have to know like kind of what's going to drive someone in, and so it is something you kind of learn as you go with the thumbnails and that. But it's kind of fun, I guess. I think if it was as easy as just posting and putting stuff out there, maybe it would take some of the fun out of it. But a little bit of a challenge having to do all that.
Yeah, well, rest assured, when it comes to making the thumbnail for this podcast, I'm putting the most jacked photo of you I can find down there, and I'm putting up a hell of a title for that thing to make sure I get as many clicks as possible. And you reminded me of something, guys. If you are not subscribed to this channel, if you're listening on Spotify, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. A lot of listeners on here, they listen regularly. Like Dylan pointed out, you kind of forget to subscribe, so do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. So appreciate the reminder on that,
Yeah,
Dylan.
yeah.
But let's go back to the Instagram stuff, kind of more because I think this is a more accessible route for the beginners, and some people can have some takeaways from this. So, you touched on kind of that imposter syndrome, right? And I think that is a big thing that tends to hold people back initially is that fear of putting themselves out to the world. Oh, it's cringy. What are people going to think? Yada yada. What was that like for you in the beginning, and how did you get over that? You kind of mentioned the forcing the consistency is something that you did.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like that is the biggest barrier to entry. It's like between like not posting and that first post, it's like such a huge difference because I was in that same mind for or head frame. It was like, well, why would someone follow me? Like you initially think cringy, like posting on social media, like how's this person gonna judge me, this and that. Like, so I was the exact same head frame with that going into it. And then it's literally once you make your first post, like 90% of that goes away because now you enter the arena, you put your foot, you start to slowly go into it. And then I think from there it's just like, again, I talk about the consistency, but like if you're someone who is kind of negative yourself, like I'm very negative myself, like with that, especially early on with that imposter syndrome or like self-doubt, it's like, well, if you just consistently post every single day, you just keep reminding yourself, okay, I'm slowly doing this. So, because I get a lot of DMs about that, like people ask about like starting to make content and like, I don't want to do it, like I'm scared of how this person's going to perceive me, or like I get a lot of like, especially in fitness, like, I'm not s- too strong enough, or maybe I'm not jacked enough, or this and that, or smart enough. But I think it's like, I mean, everyone has something to offer. Like, everyone thinks differently, everyone programs differently, everyone trains differently, everyone looks different. So like I think you'd be surprised like what people find interesting. And the hardest part again is starting. Like I understand like I was in the same boat. And I think another thing people like point to that like prevents them from starting is that perfectionism mindset where it's like
Yeah.
they compare themselves. They look at a creator who's been doing it for like 10 years, like Nick Bear, for example, or someone who's been doing it forever, and they compare themselves to that, where it's like, as opposed to like, well, they obviously had to start from somewhere. Like, so a lot of people think they need like a super nice camera, they need to know how to edit, they need to know how to film, they need to know how to do that to start. For like over the course of 7 years, I think I took a total of 30 videos and pictures of myself. Like, I literally went 0 to 100. Now I can take 30 videos in one day, but like, I literally had no camera skills, no editing skills. I knew how to do nothing. I just started recording one day, and I just watched a video on like how to edit something, and it was super easy. And I think that's the thing now. It's like, the barrier to entry is smaller now. You don't have to create a masterpiece. Like, you can just post a simple video up there. But obviously the hardest part is starting and like getting yourself out of that negative mindset. I think how I touched on earlier, like maybe I've been fortunate, but like there is a lot of positivity on social media. Like, I mean, yeah, there's negativity, but you just got to ignore that. But like this, but there is a lot of positive people, and especially early on when I was starting, like, random people from all over the world would find my content when I had like 400 followers and be like, oh man, I love your training style, or like keep it up, all this and that. And like that feeds into it, and that gives you something to like, some hope, and like, you keep posting with that. So the hardest part is starting. So if you can get over that, just remind yourself like no one's watching you as intently as you think. Like no one's watching everything you do and like, oh man, like, no, no, I don't like what this guy's doing. Like,
Right.
no, honestly, no one really cares. I think that's super freeing because like, well, why am I holding myself back? So that's what I noticed for me is like forever I was like, oh, I can't post on social media, or I can't do certain things because, but I would never go beyond because I would never like challenge that thought. I was just like, I just had that mindset where I'd stop myself there. But it was like once I sat down, I was like, well, it's because of you. You're the one holding yourself back. No one's
Yeah.
in your way, no one's holding you back. So I think once you can kind of overcome that self-doubt, then it's just a matter of just start. And you got to start, and you can't just do it one time and then quit because you're not going to blow up overnight. You're not going to blow up in a month, might not even be a year. It's going to take some time, but like enjoy the process, just like training, just like one workout. You're not going to get jacked with one workout. You're not going to gain 100 pounds in your squat with one workout. It's that meticulous process. So I relate everything back, especially on social media, to working out, and kind of it's like that same mind frame of like just being consistent, showing up daily, weekly, doing the small things, and like you slowly build that up over time. So get over that self doubt, and then just being consistent and not being a perfectionist. Like, not thinking you have to make a masterpiece. Like, start the first day, post a video or a carousel of your training, what you did that day, and then just build from there. And then you learn the editing, you learn the filming, you learn all that stuff as you go. But like, don't get too caught up in like having to do everything at once.
Guys, thank you for tuning in and supporting the podcast. I just wanted to take a minute to give a shout out over to my guys at Troponin Supplements. So they're the sponsor of the podcast, and in my opinion, they carry the best supplements on the market, and it's not even close. And they're the one company that I've wanted to align myself with. As a nutrition coach working with NFL football players, other professional athletes, strongman competitors, bodybuilders, powerlifters, fitness enthusiasts, endurance athletes, I have to be very particular about any supplement company I endorse. And with Troponin Supplements, frankly, it was a no-brainer. These are the products I've been using myself for the last few years before I ever became involved with the company. I know the owner personally, Justin Harris. He is one of the brilliant minds in the bodybuilding industry, and we've talked, and all he has wanted to do is just bring some of the elite, top-of-the-line products to the market, and that's what he's done. So these are the products I recommend and endorse to all my athletes, all my clients. I use myself, and I want to pass this along to you guys as well. So I'm going to highlight a couple products here. First and foremost, we've got the ATP. This is a high dose of caffeine paired with a very powerful nootropic. I take this before work. I take this before I podcast. This is going to give you a great boost in mood, in focus, memory enhancement. You're just going to feel like you took the Limitless pill when you use ATP. It's an effervescent tablet. You drop it in your water, it dissolves, tastes great. The next product, Field Rations. This is the premier intra-workout supplement on the market right now. It's a one-stop shop for all your intra-workout needs. It's based in highly branched cyclic dextrin, contains essential amino acids, electrolytes, tastes amazing. I use this within every training session. Then we've got the Suppressor Max. This is awesome for controlling your blood sugar. It's got a high dose of berberine, but then has complementary ingredients that are going to keep the berberine bioavailable and stay in your system longer. This is the best blood sugar product on the market. If you're bulking, if you're eating a ton of food, if you're using a cheat meal, this is a great product for you. And then finally, I love this one. I've always had sleep issues. Hit the Rack. This is one of the best sleep products I've ever tried. I use it about 30 minutes before bed most nights, and this has been the one supplement that has actually helped me fall asleep and stay asleep. And then of course, we got the Troponin T logo bodybuilding jersey and the hat. We've got great apparel on the site. So guys, check out Troponin supplements. You can find the link in the show notes, in the bio, or you can simply just Google Troponin supplements. Use code HECK, capital HECK, at checkout for a discount. Check them out, guys. These are some of the best products on the market. Yeah, man. I look back at my content from, 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I thought this was good back then. Like my stuff, I mean, it was terrible. Like there's no structure to it, no editing, terrible lighting. It was just content that I would almost be like ashamed to put out now in terms of the quality of it. But that's what created my foundation. Like that's how I got started. And that's what allowed me to ultimately like build my following. And I got better over the course of time as you do with any craft, just getting reps in. But then like, to your point, I think when you see someone putting themselves out there, it's kind of like seeing someone starting up at the gym for the first time. Like, people who are out of shape, they're so worried about going to the gym, self-conscious, I'm going to be judged. It's like, no. Like we love seeing people, if they're overweight or out of shape, getting their ass in the gym. It's like respect, like, hell yeah. Like you're doing the right thing and we're going to support you and help you. Similar with creators, people who are starting to put themselves out there. It's like, great, man. Like awesome. Like, maybe give you some tips, like support you a little bit. And I think in today's day and age, like if you're trying to sell something, if you're trying to market a product, market a service, anything that requires some sort of advertising, you're behind the eight ball if you're not, leveraging social media, right? I mean, it's almost kind of a necessity these days to do it. Like if you're trying to sell something, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you need social media. Like it's so big now, and like you see all these people make massive livings off it or grow brands or do all this. And I think that's what always motivated me too. Like when I first started like working out, I was watching like these people on YouTube, like someone I always watched like back in 2013 was like Nick Bear or like Christian Guzman, people like that who
Yeah.
like they started on that. And now you look at them, they have like, he has Alpha Elite, they have BP, and they have these massive businesses that they built up. And they literally started as like a YouTuber, just record themselves working out. And it's cool to like see their growth over 10 years. And it kind of like that like motivated me to start posting because like, well, who knows what I could do in 5, 10 years and like where you could be now. It's just starting is really all it is. Just once you start, like, you never know.
Here's a little bit more of a philosophical question. Do you think anyone can ultimately be a really successful creator in that they do get a large following? Like, can anyone do that? Or is it more it's a smaller percentage of people who actually do have that little something that will allow them to do that? Because one thing that I do think I notice is there's a lot of people who want to start doing this, and kind of like you said, they start to worrying about let me get the camera, the editing, and then they start posting and they're like, well, why don't I have 10,000 followers yet? And it's like, well, there's nothing unique about you. Like you don't have any actual substance to offer, right? So can anyone do this? I suppose anyone can do this, but can anyone be really successful with this, in your opinion?
I mean, I like to think so. Like, I'm not special at all. I'm very average growing up, and I've been lucky to like see this following. Like, yeah, I do think it's like anything. Like, you do have to kind of provide something, or you have to like, I guess, be unique in a sense. Again, I kind of relate it back to working out. It's like I think a lot of people kind of start it and they expect, you know, results right away. Same thing with content. And so it's like when they're not seeing that, they get discouraged and they just stop. I mean, the biggest thing is just continuing, like, like it's not going to happen overnight or a month or a year. So I don't know. I think it's one where it's like, I think anyone can be successful as long as you have the tools of like consistency and like being authentic. And I think now I do think in the, like, if we're talking about the fitness side, like there is probably like, you do kind of have to offer something in the sense of like maybe your physique or like your strength or your knowledge. I think that's kind of important in like in the fitness side. Like you have to have like that proof, and like
Right.
usually they can see it through the video. So like I think anyone could provide that. It's just like maybe someone who's only been working out a year versus somebody who's been working out for 10 years, like they're obviously going to look entirely different, and different strength levels and this and that. So like someone who's been working out 10 years could start posting, probably blow up over way quicker than someone with a year. So I think there is something to it where like you kind of need to build that proof first, is kind of what I think, and then
Yeah.
it can kind of build up from there.
I think people just need to not lose sight of the fact that you have to continue to actually get good at your craft, at the thing you're posting about. Like
Hmm.
you live that professional athlete life. You are genuinely training your ass off. You're training effectively. You are walking the walk at a pretty damn high level of what you're posting about. And you had some years under your belt with strength and conditioning. So it's not like you were just someone who didn't know anything. You didn't have an education. You didn't have any skin in the game. Like you had some years under your belt of knowing what you were talking about. And I think that is important. It's like, well, hold on, before you think that you deserve to have some massive following, like, you don't have to be the biggest, the strongest, the most
Hmm.
jacked in the world, but you do have to be pretty well versed in this stuff, I think. And I think as a creator, you need to not just get better at videos and posting and the content side of things. You also need to continue to get better at the subject that you're
Hmm.
posting about. Like keep learning about training, keep walking the walk with training and nutrition or whatever that is. And I think, in today's day and age, the younger generation, people are they're not investing enough in their actual craft. They're investing way
Hmm.
more in the content. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think that's a very well said. I think that's a big thing, is like I think it does kind of like, I think there's some people who like can blow up overnight because they look a certain way, but they don't actually like love to work out. So once they kind of blow up, they're like, I'll work out here and there. Like me and you, like we're obsessed with working out. We're gonna train no matter what, like
Yeah.
with a camera, without it. So I think that always helped me too, is like I never like expected to blow up on social media. It was like, all right, I'm just gonna start posting my training because I mean I'm working out anyways. I love working out. I'm just gonna start sharing something I'm passionate about. If I blow up, sweet. If not, then it's just gonna be still videos of me training. So like I think that's another big thing with like fitness. If like if you're like generally like love to train, you're obsessed with it, like then it's like it's a win-win. Like worst case, you don't blow up. Now you just have sick videos of you lifting and you can show that. But if you
Yeah.
are like authentic about it and you really do enjoy working out, then like naturally like you're gonna invest into the content, because then you're like you kind of start treating it as as working out. Like you get obsessed with that. So I think there is something to it. If like if you like to train, then naturally, I don't know. I feel like you would make better content over time because it's just more
For sure.
authentic to you. You're not really faking anything. It's just who you are, and it's like it kind of happened over time.
For sure. No, I think the authenticity part is so huge, and people see that. People
Hmm.
gravitate towards that. And when you have a genuine passion for what you're doing, the subject matter that you're making content about, it's so much easier to make good content, and that authenticity shines through, and your ability to have creative inspiration is it. You've got so much more to talk about and so much more to post
Yeah.
about when you're genuinely passionate about the stuff, you know. So you mentioned one thing, how you weren't really expecting to blow up, and I think that's kind of almost like a necessary mindset. Have you fallen into this trap where you have some viral videos and then you think you know exactly what it takes to make a
Yep. Yeah.
viral video,
Yeah.
and you're
Oh
like, oh
man.
hell
Yep.
yeah, this
Yeah.
video is about to pop off, and then dud, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen, you
I've
know.
had those. All. Yeah. You like use certain words, or you have like a certain like song or something with it, and it's like, all right, it's got to go viral again. Then yeah, it gets 10,000 views versus the 3 million the first one got. Yeah.
Yeah, every single time I've made a video and thought to myself, this is a viral video, it never does. But all of
Yep.
my viral content was just stuff that it was like I wasn't trying to make it viral. It just it was more sincere, it was more genuine. It just played out that way. And for whatever reason, it just happened to hit in the algorithm. I think it's I think as soon as you start to think you understand virality and you know you've got the algorithm figured out, that's when you're in for a little bit of a rude awakening. But
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think with the viral thing, like the videos I've spent like I made last minute in my car. I'm like, oh, I just got to post something. Those are the ones that have gone viral versus the ones where I'd like spent all this time making it, or I'm like, oh, I look sick in this video. Or I'm pulling some big weight. Those just get
yeah,
like normal. Or I spent all this time like this super in-depth thing. It gets nothing, and then it's those videos you like think of last minute that go viral.
well, there are definitely some commonalities, some traits that videos that go viral probably do tend to have. What do you think some of those are? Like, what do you think are some of the potential common denominator makings of a viral video?
Yeah, I can tell you, like, based off all the stuff that I've had gone viral, because I think it's cool on Instagram now. You can like sort by most viewed versus least viewed. So I look a lot at my viral content. Like for me, stuff that always works is like numbers in the title. So like
Oh,
three exercises to build strong hamstrings. Do these 5 exercises to get more powerful. Do these 10 exercises to become a weapon. Like numbers always do well for me. And I think it's just because someone who clicks on that video, they're more likely to stay because they're like, okay, he said 5. I'm on number 3. I might as well watch it all the way through.
oh, that makes
So
sense.
I think numbers help a ton because I can look at my most viral videos now and like 20 of like the top 25 have a number in the title. So I think numbers are very big. I think another thing, especially with fitness, is like you almost not have to dumb it down, but make it very general. Like the videos that are like more in depth, we're talking about like super in depth training concepts like wave loading or like super maximal eccentrics or stuff like that. Like only a certain number of people actually understand what you're saying or
Yeah,
are going to implement it. So like those get no views, but the ones that get the most are like do these 5 exercises to get strong, back squat, bench, deadlift, dip, overhead press, whatever it is. It's like kind of those like basic things that people can like right away and implement their training. And that's kind of what I think of with my videos that like are maybe could go viral that have gone viral. It's like, well, what could someone watch right away and put and do like they can watch it and be in the gym and do it right away. Because I think that's a cool thing with working out. It's like you can consume the content and then you can actually try it out and see if it works for you. So again, videos with like numbers in it, videos that are way more basic, that are like anyone can do, like general strength training, general
right.
sprint jumping, all that. Another thing that helps is like using terms like help a lot. Like I like to use a lot of like do these 5 exercises like to build your abs, to grow your abs, to build a big back, like kind of throwing in like those adjective words like big, like massive. Like I also use
Right.
this actually has helped me a lot. I've used the term like I think everyone kind of has a term they use. I use weapon a lot, and it's funny. That was like one of my first videos that went viral. Like after that Switch video, where it's like I made a video. It's called "Become a Weapon," and it was essentially just what I do in a general week of training. It was like lift 4 times a week, sprint twice a week, jump twice a week, condition twice a week. And I remember at the time like I've used that term actually like probably 10 times since, and it has worked because a lot of times like the MMA community catches it and they're like, well, you're not a weapon, bro. You don't know how to fight. So you get all kind of like those people and they kind of drive engagement with that. But I think the biggest thing is like those numbers, basic content, and then kind of throwing in words. Like obviously sell the video. And then I think length is what I've noticed is like most of my videos like 30 to 40 seconds, like not super short, but not super long, like long enough where like people stay along. And then I think songs do help. I think that's one thing I've noticed. So when I first started creating content, it was like, oh, I have to use the most viral song. I have to do
Mm,
all the hashtags. And I've realized it's like using songs that you actually like do way better. Like my best reels have songs that I just like listening to, like Metallica songs or like System of a Down or stuff like that, that like go well. So I think music can play a big role there too, because I also get a lot of comments from someone's like, oh, I just watched the video because I like the song. So I
yeah.
think that can play into it as well. But I've definitely noticed like numbers. Numbers are the biggest thing I've noticed.
Yeah, I'm gonna like get totally derailed off the podcast here because I'm just like taking notes mentally
Yeah.
here myself. I think that's spot on with the numbers, and I'm like thinking back to a few of my recent videos. I'm like, shit, I should have put numbers in the title because you're so right. They're gonna stay for the whole video if they know
Yeah.
there's 5 exercises. Well, if you don't put that in, they might be swiping past it when they get to exercise number 2. God, this stuff it's all like when you think about it, it's kind of an understanding of human psychology
Yeah,
in
it
a
is. Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like those little things like that. People know, well, there's 5 exercises. I got to know what number 5 is, or
Yeah.
like certain words like yeah, how to become a weapon is going to draw more eyes than just how to become jacked or whatever more common terminology you might use. And I'm thinking like if I saw a post that says weapon in it relative to training, I'm probably a little bit more drawn in myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think yeah,
So
that does. And then also like kind of like I saw you had a video the other day, like you were talking about like doing back extensions as one as like in
yeah,
one of your favorite hamstring posterior chain exercises. I think those videos always do well too, where it's just like a simple exercise hack or like an exercise maybe you prefer over something else. Like do this one exercise to build your hamstrings, or I do this and this hamstring exercise helped me deadlift 800 pounds or stuff like that. When you throw
right.
numbers in, I don't know, numbers just always do well.
That's a good one. This exercise helped me
Yeah.
deadlift my
You do
max.
something, you do like that. Just start throwing your max. Because again, like people see 500 on the bar versus 800 on the bar. They don't know the difference. But if you kind of like put it in text, it definitely helps a lot. Because I'll see people like, you'll see someone go viral and they're deadlifting like 500 pounds and then someone's deadlifting like 1,000 pounds. It's like, how's this not of millions of views? Because people can't even like relate that. So yeah, it is funny. Like you have to like, you could be the strongest jack guy in the world. And it's like, you still have to play into like this algorithm thing.
I just wrote down a note here. This exercise helped me deadlift 825, and I already know the video
Okay.
I'm going
Yeah.
to make. I was going to post a video of it was actually another 45-degree back extension. I've been doing these really heavy snatch grip 45-degree back extensions with a
Oh, okay.
barbell, and it's a really good lockout builder for deadlift. But I was just going to post that as kind of a standalone, but now I'm going to frame it as this exercise helped me deadlift 825, cut to a shot of me pulling that 825,
Yeah.
then show the exercise.
Yeah.
Taking notes. That's why I'm at
That's perfect.
88K follow. That's why I have 88,000 followers and you have 280,000 followers. No, appreciate. See, this is one of the things I love about the podcast is I get to learn from my guests. I always have good takeaways from them. So appreciate the knowledge on that. But just speaking about some more things of kind of like little nuances to focus on, do you put much emphasis on the time of day, days of the week, that sort of thing when you're dropping your posts?
No, so not at all. I mean, I'm never gonna post like at like midnight or like 3
Right.
a.m. But like I usually I don't really care if it's like 6 a.m. or 9 p.m. So I don't really like plan stuff. I'm honestly like all my content I post day of. Like the reel I'm gonna post today was the training I did 3 hours ago. Like that's one thing. It's like I plan stuff out, but and I know what I'm gonna post, but it's like once I think of something, I want to post it right away. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just kind of like how I do it. And Instagram does give you statistics, and it's like, okay, at this time, I remember I saw like Mondays and Thursdays from 12 to 3 is when my audience is the most active. I mean, if I can post during that time, sweet, but I'm not like, oh, I gotta post at that time. I think again, it just kind of goes to like the consistency and like honestly, you could honestly post at 3 a.m. because there's people on the other side of the world who are going to watch your content, but I don't think that's as big of a, at least for me, like I've noticed, I don't think that's made much of a difference. It's like the time of the day you're going to post. Cause I think if it's a good post, like it's naturally just going to go build over time.
Yeah.
So I think YouTube, it helps. I've looked into I remember when I first started YouTube, that kind of helped looking into that, like when people are more active. So when I do make YouTube, I do try to post because they get. I don't know if you ever looked on YouTube analytics, but they'll show you when your subscribers are watching videos, and it'll be
Yeah.
like. So I'll look at it, and I'll usually post around either lunchtime or like 3 o'clock after work time. So I'll do it on that. But for Instagram, TikTok, I kind of post as soon as I have the post ready to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like on Instagram, I think if the content's good, regardless of whatever time of day you post it, it's gonna do well if it was meant to do well, regardless. And I think like I admit early on, I was kind of captivated by I gotta post at the optimal, 11:30 a.m. or
Yeah,
6 p.m. after work. And then you realize, oh, I posted this random video at like 2:17 p.m. On a Wednesday, and it popped off. It was a good video, right? Just make good stuff and don't get so caught in the weeds of some of those other little nuanced metrics. And that's always going to steer you the right way. Like, I think, I'm sure you're familiar with Mr. Beast on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever listened to Mr. Beast talk about virality and talk about how to build a massive YouTube empire, the thing he always comes back to is make better content, have better ideas. Like, that is what it boils down to. Have good ideas, make good content, fuck the rest. Like, if you
Yeah.
do those things and continue to get better at those two things, just putting out better stuff, everything is going to fall into place. But with that said, in short form, there is some like the hook, the opening, 2 seconds is going to be more important probably than, maybe on YouTube. But so do you try to have like a hook, a captivating initial grab in your videos?
Dude, I'm Captain Hook over here. I'm huge on hooks. Hooks are the
Yeah.
that first 3 seconds is like honestly makes or breaks the video. So I am very big on hooks. Like, and I think that's a thing is like you can reuse hooks all the time. Like some of my most viral videos, they have the exact same hook like that I've used. So if you have a good hook, if you've noticed a video has gotten good views with that hook, reuse that hook. You don't have to make the same video. Like, you can make it like, for example, I made one, it was become a weapon and shown like what I do in a week of training. And then I use that same hook for another video. I was like, do these 6 exercises to build a big back because it happened to have my back in it. So if you have a good hook, I do think hooks are, at least in my experience, I live every video I have to have a hook. Like I live and die by it. So I actually don't know what it's like to not have a hook. I haven't
Yeah.
experimented that because I've just been lucky to use hooks. But I do think when I did first start posting, like 2 years ago, I remember watching someone and they were like very big on hooks, like either a visual hook or like something that's going to draw the audience in. And I think especially in fitness, like a classic hook you can always use is like, you posing or like you I always use like my go-to hooks. Actually, I remember doing this last year. I was looking at my most viral content and I put my hooks into two categories. One was like a planned hook where it's like, all right, I just finished a chest day and I'm like doing the most muscular pose versus a
Yeah.
hook where it's like me finishing like a hard rep of a dip, like locking out a dip and use that as a hook. And I
Yeah.
found like videos like doing a hard rep or like showing kind of the foreshadow in the video, those always did a lot better. So like my most viral videos, it's like I'll use like, and I love using these ones like on, you struggling for the last rep on a dip, on a bench, on some sort of exercise. I think that's always a great hook to use. And then you get into the training. So I use those quite a bit, but very big on the hook. And then I think with the song choice, like kind of going into it, I was trying to have like I use a lot of rock songs, like just because, like fit with working out. So I always try to like time it up or like the first 3 seconds and then like the beat drops or whatever and then it gets into the video.
Yeah.
So those are the three things I kind of live by, like that title, using those numbers or some sort of engaging word in the title, that first 3 second hook, and then that song choice kind of going into it.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with the hook, Captain Hook. I love that. But like on Instagram, like they're swiping through the Discover page, you've got like a split second to captivate that person's attention to keep them to not have them just swipe past your video. So that hook is huge. And you're so right. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. That last second straining on the rep, if you're doing fitness type
Hmm.
content, like that always does tend to draw me in because you're like, oh, I want to see like what led up to this. And there's
Yeah,
something kind of like intense about it. Yeah, I'm continuing to steal ideas here.
I love it.
Um,
No, go ahead.
now, you kind of already answered this, but I was going to ask you if you had kind of a posting schedule, or if you're banking content at all. Like I've got these like 10 pre-recorded videos, I'm gonna drop them these days, but it sounds like you're just kind of riffing it on the fly day to day.
I've been doing it for almost 2 years. There's probably been like 5 days where I had a video a day in advance. I do everything day of. That's just my life though. I've always been like a day of person. I'm just gonna do it. I'm more productive. It's also when I make a piece of content, I'm like excited to post it. So like I don't want to wait around with
Yeah.
it. But I mean I like each week I'll make like a calendar of the week, Sunday through Saturday, and I plan it out like what I'm gonna post. Like, every day I'm gonna post my training. So if I'm lifting 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I already know what 5 or 6 of the posts are gonna be. I like to try to post, and this is me, obviously I built up to it. Like I try to post around 12 to 14 times a week. So if I can, I try to post twice a day, but at least twice a day, like 5 days a week. So a lot of that is when I'll start doing those videos where it's like, do these 5 exercises, grow your hamstrings, or something where it's more educational. I'll do a lot of those and I'll try to plan those out. And then a lot of like videos, I'll do a lot of like 4 days of eating. That's another thing too, I've noticed. And I know obviously you being a nutrition coach, but like I'm more like focused on like the training and the actual training. But I remember I went to an event last February. I was like a Gymshark event. I met like kind of a lot of people followed me and they're like, man, I love when you post your food. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. So I think it's another thing is like carousel post of your food, because obviously I place, everyone knows I place hand in hand with fitness, so like showing more of that, even that's like not your center focus with content. So I'll try to always do like a full day of eating post every week where it's like a carousel post. It's just your meals throughout the day, and then usually I do like a weekly roundup where it's just like my favorite list from the week. But for the most part, I plan, like I have a calendar plan for the week, and I try to like put in to kind of take the stress, know what I want to film that week. But I film my workout every single day. I have my camera with me no matter what. And no matter the workout, I'm always going to get at least one set just so I can have
Yeah.
a reel or a carousel no matter what. I think that's a big thing. It's like, because people ask me, I remember my friends, they're like, do you ever get tired of recording yourself in the gym? Like, bro, it's the easiest thing ever. I literally press a red button and the camera's
Yeah.
there and I'm lifting, doing what I love. So it's pretty easy. So I always make sure to get content that way. And then I think that's a big thing with fitness is like, especially with fitness content, it's like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm struggling thinking of content of what to post." It's just post your workout. Like you got
Right.
the easy, that's the easiest thing. You just post your training for the day, what you did, or at least like maybe a set from it or explain something because you can always post that. But yeah, for the most part, I try to I plan it out. Like I have a general game plan, YouTube, Instagram, like what I want to record. But I think some of my best content is the ones where it's like, damn, it's like Wednesday night. I'm like, I want to post something. I can't think of anything. It's just like you kind of go through your videos and
Yeah.
think of something. So I think that's another thing too, is like if you're able to, like I probably have 4 terabytes of videos now because I save everything
Yeah.
and I just back it up. But it is nice because you can kind of always go back and like use something like example, if you use that deadlift video, you have that 825 deadlift, you can always go back and use that for whenever you're utilizing that. So I think that helps as well, kind of having a big like video library.
Yeah, for sure. And I need to do a better job of that, just backing up all my videos because there's been so many times I'm like, oh man, like that video from 2 years ago, like that'd be perfect for this reel, but I
Yeah.
deleted that video. Like I thought I was done with it. It's like, no, just bankroll your videos. You never know when you can just drop it in and edit it in, and it's a perfect little segue or topic builder within a video. And also you're spot on with the full days of eating. I found that my full days of eating videos do really well on YouTube. Like
Yeah. I watched yours yesterday. Yeah. It's
yeah,
super interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
people love the full days of eating. First, there, and again with the human psychology, there's something about when people see like what is this guy eating? It
Yeah.
just draws people in. Do you feel I mean, you seem like you're just pretty carefree is not the word, but you don't seem like you're someone who's overly stressed and in your head about this. But a lot of people, I think, hell, I mean, me included, feel like a pressure to like I'm thinking about being in your position. Oh, it's Wednesday night. I haven't posted a video, and I'm like thinking of something to do. It's like if you feel that pressure, it's a little bit stressful. Do you feel that at all? Kind of the pressure, the stress to continue to put out good stuff?
No, I mean, I definitely do. Like I mean, I'm fortunate enough where it is like that is my job essentially is just to post content. Like extremely fortunate where like that's kind of like my main thing I do. So I do want to hold myself to like a high standard and like obviously always try to be innovative, like get better with my quality of content, like posting and stuff. So I mean, I do stress out, especially on days like where it's like, yeah, it's like 7 o'clock. I'm like, damn, I really want to think of something creative and I can't really think of it. So I kind of stress about it, but it's like it is funny. Like the days I stress the most about it is the days I end up like not thinking of anything. It's like kind of the ones where you're kind of just like, if you can't think of anything, you kind of just start scrolling through your like your video library and you're like, this video of me doing like a bench press, like I can make I can make this simple reel and like, all right, what are 4 exercises that help me bench 405, and then you
Right.
start going through, all right, dips helped a lot, this pin press, you're like, oh, there's a video right there. So I think you can always like you can look at a video, like especially videos you really like, maybe your all-time maxes you save in another library or like your best physique videos. Like I have a folder where it's like my favorite physique, favorite lifts, and then I can scroll through that all the time and be like, I haven't posted this video like of me, hitting this number. It's like, all right, here's exercise I did to build up to it. So there's definitely that like that pressure there and that stress, but like I have found like it's like anything. When you're more stressed about it, it's probably not gonna be as good. So it's kind of like trying to find ways to like, all right, always kind of be a little bit ahead where it's like an idea is kind of in your head. Like maybe you've again, like you're kind of saying earlier, like that video of an idea of like the snatch grip hyperextension.
Yeah.
Like I have that a lot where I have an idea of like I want to show a certain exercise, but I don't know like how I'm gonna frame this. Like,
Hmm.
all right, like I want to show the exercise, but like if I'm just like, oh, do this exercise, it probably won't get as many views as like, here's an exercise I did to deadlift X amount of pounds. So a lot of
Yeah.
times I have a general idea and like I'll sit with it for like maybe a couple days and then eventually I'll think of like the theme behind it, I guess.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think when in doubt, if you're in our position in the fitness side of things, the training footage is always going to be a safe bet. Like I had a period of time, a few months ago on Instagram where I was putting out too much talking head, academic, educational stuff, and they were just not doing well. And I was like, I just got to get back to posting just like deadlift videos or just
Yeah.
like chest day carousel.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, you get back to just posting training videos and those posts never fail. Like
Yeah. Never.
I could have an educational post that bombs, but I'll never have a training video that absolutely bombs. It might not go viral, but it's always
Hmm.
going to get me a steady amount of
Yeah.
engagement. It's always going to do decent at least, you know. Um, okay, that leads me to the last topic here, and we kind of alluded to this earlier: the distinction between content that drives engagement, that gets you followers, that gets comments, versus content that converts followers into clients, into customers. And I think there's a difference there. Like we said, not just because you have a huge following doesn't mean all of those people are purchasing your products or hiring you as their coach. Um, in your opinion, what are some of those distinctions? Like, what's the distinction between viral engagement, drive followers versus actually putting money in your bank account?
Yeah. So I think I talked about it earlier, but I kind of like do two posts on Instagram. So one just my training videos from that day, and then one's kind of like the ones like has the potential to go viral, like the numbers or like
Yeah.
stuff like that, like become a weapon, do this. So those videos I always try to use to like hopefully go viral, but maybe draw in new followers. And then I think most people end up following me just because they know what to expect every day. I'm always going to post my workouts, my training. They can always look at that. And I think those training videos are the videos that get people to actually purchase plans because, you know, my training now is obviously a little different than some of my plans I do, just because that is a big thing. Like the training I post, like I do a higher amount of volume in different stuff just because I'm fortunate enough I get to train for a living. So I don't
Right.
like I can't invest all that time. My plans are obviously different. They're more suited for someone, but someone could still see like what a plan would look like. Or like, we all follow people we like with their training content where it's like, you like someone for their certain like I like the way he kind of structures his lower body days or how he does these supersets or these rep schemes. So I think people kind of follow you for that and they kind of get interested in certain like I do a lot of wave loading and like I've always kind of done a lot of it. Whenever I post it or I go through a training cycle where I'm doing it, like I'll get like 30 questions out of video, like asking like what it is. And a lot of my plans have wave loading in it. So I kind of point to that. I think that draws a lot of sales. So I think like getting people in the door like with that viral content, like kind of that more of that general content where it's like again, super basic stuff. Do these exercises, get strong, build your back with these 5 exercises, stuff like most people kind of know. And then you kind of get people to start following you and they start seeing your training and they start watching, okay, this is how he trains. And then I think that leads people from the short form training to the YouTube because then it's like, all right, well, now I'm actually kind of curious, like, what's his thought process behind training like that? And they start watching kind of the longer form. So for me, I've definitely noticed like those numbers videos or those kind of more general ones have the potential to go viral, bring followers in. But I'm always every single day going to post my training. And I think that's what people who are newer followers, they see it maybe over a week, 2 weeks, a month, and they might eventually buy a plan because oh, I'm kind of interested in that. So I think that kind of
Yeah.
leads to like the conversions.
Yeah, for sure. The posts that have a little bit more substance to them that shows, okay,
Hmm.
this guy really knows what he's talking about. This guy has some knowledge that would be valuable to me. Those will maybe not get you as many comments, likes, views, all that stuff, but people will potentially buy your program, hire you as a coach. And I think, what you're doing is a little like you really make a lot of your income off of selling programs. My primary income is one-on-one nutrition coaching. So like I think with me, there's very much an element of kind of a trust factor. Like, so
Mhm.
that's why I really like the long form stuff, because people hear me speak at length, they hear me on the podcast, they know my personality, and they kind of feel like, oh, I can see that guy coaching me. Versus if I'm trying to post content that's going to drive followers, it's a little bit more superficial, a little bit more
Mhm.
potentially polarizing, more of a hot take, a little bit more just showing the abs and stuff like that. Although,
Yeah.
you post the physique, you are going to get some DMs for nutrition coaching. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you want to have that kind of balance. You want both, right? Because if you're
Mhm.
getting more followers, that means more eyes on your educational content, more potential clients. So I'm curious, just a couple more questions, and we'll get out of here. So you post twice a day most of the time. Do you feel like that second post like kills the momentum of the first post? Do they interfere at all? Do you ever worry about like you're fatiguing the audience, like constantly hammering them with content? This is something I've like been concerned about. Like, am I posting too frequently? Or I guess in your case, are you thinking like, no, like the more volume, the better?
So I that's funny because I used to think the same way. I was like, am I annoying people with how much I post? And then I was like, no, not at all. So like I'm a big volume guy, so like volume
Yeah,
negates luck. I just see it as more at bats. And I think another thing with Instagram too, it's like, I consume a lot of content on Instagram, but like when I'm scrolling through my feed, it's like Instagram's so weird now where it's like it doesn't even like show you people you're following. So like sometimes I won't see a video of someone I follow until like 5 days later. So like,
true.
because I was thinking of that, if it's like a normal person, like one of my friends who follows me on Instagram, like I'll look at their feeds, I'm like, am I showing up too much? It's like it doesn't like it's not going to be like all Dylan because there's so many other stuff they factor in. So like it might like because I was the same way. I was like, oh, I posted too much. Like maybe it's getting annoying, but then it was like people aren't seeing it that much, and I think it's kind of like good to almost be annoying. Like I forgot someone kind of gave me advice on that, but they're like, you want to like keep showing up. Someone wants to like see you as like a source of like inspiration or motivation or whatever it
Yeah,
is. They want to like, especially when someone kind of starts following you, they want to like see what you're up to each day, and they want to be like they're kind of like trapped within it. So I've noticed like
yeah,
with the volume, like it doesn't like sometimes I'll post like for example, like some days I have days where I think of a post last minute, so I'll post an hour apart. And I don't think they interfere at all because they I don't know what Instagram does, but they go somewhere and like most of the likes are coming from people who don't even follow you and stuff, or how people kind of view it. So I've never gotten like too down that or I've tried not to get too obsessed with like thinking if I'm putting too
right.
much volume out there. So I try to do the two posts a day, and like I've seen some people do like 3 to 5. Like I don't know how they do that. That's hats off to them. But like I try to, even though I'm posting with a higher volume, I try to keep it higher quality and like still having standards with it. But for the most part, I've noticed like again, it's like an at bat. Every time you post, like there's potential for new followers, someone else to buy your plan, or like I don't know,
Right.
you never know how it can go. So I've kind of taken that approach with it.
Yeah, and you're right, and that kind of gives me a little bit clarity. It's like just because you post multiple times a day, it's the same people that follow you aren't necessarily even seeing both those posts that same day. The algorithm's so weird in
Hmm.
terms of what it serves you, because I might have 100 people I follow who have posted today, and my algorithm didn't show me their post. Right, I'm
Yeah.
I'm just seeing lots of things from the discover page of people I'm not following, or yeah, it's no, I think I've got some good takeaways from this. This might be the most actionable podcast guest that I've had on in terms
I'm
of
stoked. I'm
takeaways.
stoked.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. Last question. This one's just for me. Do you see you do reels, you do carousels, and do the carousels have a less of a capacity to reach new people to go viral, right? Because the reels, don't they have more of an ability to be seen by new people, or am I off on that?
No, I think so. That's actually funny. I've been experimenting with that a lot more recently. But like, I felt like I forgot the guy's name, but he's like the head of Instagram, and he does. I think his name's like I'm a butcher the name. It's like Morsey or something like that. But he does a lot of Q&As on his story where like people ask him like questions like that about like Instagram's algorithm and stuff. And I think nowadays he was kind of explaining like carousels can go viral just as reels because carousels now kind of show up in reels tabs Like if you go the reels, like carousels might show up. And I think a lot of people use Discover. So I've actually been experimenting more with doing some days I'll do, most of my videos are just my training vlog from that day is gonna be a reel. But like I've been experimenting more with like making them carousel posts so I can actually show the full video, the
Right.
full, set of squats and the scroll throughs, and they'll get like really good engagement. So like I have noticed like carousels, like I don't do a ton of carousels, but I'm trying to do more of, but they'll get similar engagement to um reels because they also added a new thing where I don't know if you've seen it, but like on carousels, they also tell you how many views you get. So like kind of like similar to how reels do it. So I think that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. And like I'll get similar views on a carousel than I do on like a reel. So I think they have the potential to blow up just as much. And I think now with like carousels, you can add up to like 20 photos now. I think that helps a lot too. Cause it's like honestly, I think the more the better you can add to it because once someone starts swiping through, they're going to go all the way through. So
Yeah.
I have noticed like that's something I've been trying to do more of is more carousel posts. So that's why I try to do like that full day of eating once a week. I try to make one of my training videos at least a carousel because I will get similar views. And I think a lot of people go on that Discover page now and they're just like looking through random content and like those pop up. So I think that they can have the potential to it. I do like still lean more towards like reels and like the majority of like if I'm posting say 14 times a week, it's probably gonna be like 11 reels, 3
Right.
carousels. And that's just because what I've seen help. But I have seen a lot of people who only do carousels and they do pretty well with that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'll post a full day of training type of thing, and I'm like, this would make more sense in a carousel. Like I'm showing
Yeah.
10 different exercises. It's easier to swipe through it, but I'm like, well, the reels do better, right? So I've got to
Yeah.
put all these into a reel, but then I got to make sure the person actually sticks around for the entire reel, right? Whereas the carousel, it's just easier for them to swipe to the exercises that intrigue them, catch their eye, just see what all the exercises are. So that's interesting. Like and there was a time where I would have kind of rolled my eyes at thinking about all or stressing over all these nuances, like number of
Yeah.
followers, carousel versus real. But it's like if you're doing this, these are key
Yeah.
KPIs. Like these are key
Yeah.
components to this is just modern day marketing. This is modern
Mhm.
day advertising. Like this, all these little things, like this is big and you understand how to leverage this stuff. I mean, it's insane the living that you can make doing this. I mean, I'm sure you're making a way better living than you ever were doing, traditional strength and conditioning. I'm sure it's been a massive upgrade in life for you as it has been for me. So, yeah, it's amazing, what can be accomplished these days when you go all in as a content creator.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what you say going all in on, I think that's a big thing. It's like it's gonna take time. Like if you just dip your toe in it, like you're not gonna go nowhere. You just gotta kind of invest the time, slowly build up over it. But like again, like it's cool to watch people because like I've always been motivated by other people online. It's like, damn, they really built that up. It's like again, like anyone can do it now. Like back when I first started working out, I was like the only way you could work out for a living was if you're a professional athlete. Now it's like
Yeah.
you can grow a social media account and you can, work with companies or you can sell programs and you can kind of build that up. So yeah, it is super cool, super fortunate.
Yeah, man. Well, I've had a blast on the podcast, man. It's been great talking to you. I've had some great takeaways. I'm sure a lot of people in my audience do as well. Before we get out of here, man, just plug your stuff, plug your Instagram, your YouTube, and your programs.
Yeah, man, it was an awesome time. Appreciate you having me. Again, I've been watching you for probably like 6 years on Instagram, so it's awesome
That's
to
super. That's super
finally
cool to me. Yeah,
finally meet in person and like get to talk. So yeah, everything on all my socials are my Instagram, TikTok is just underscore Dylan Shannon, and then my YouTube's Dylan underscore Shannon. Website, all my plans are through my Instagram, but my website, if you ever want to go, is powerjack.com. And yeah, got training plans on there, and then on my Trainer Oak. But yeah, it's an awesome time. I appreciate you having me.
for sure. Well, guys, go check out Dylan. Check him out on social media, on YouTube. Go check out his training programs. And for myself, guys, please hit that subscribe button. You can see more of me on the YouTube channel. Episodes of the Hammer and Chisel Performance Podcast dropping every Tuesday. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. You can go to my website, hammerchiselperformance.com, for my one-on-one coaching services, my ebook training programs, and check me out on Instagram as well. I'm trying to catch up to this guy as far as the following goes, but I post on there pretty regularly. So anyway, Dylan, appreciate you coming on, man. And guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.